Globosome, Path of the Swarm is an ambitious 3D exploratory platform game from first-time German developers Fabian Schaub and Thomas Kruger. Playing as a tiny organic blob, the game takes you on a perilous journey through 19 stunning levels. The developers deserve some respect for what they've tried to achieve. The game is based on an award-winning animated short of the same name and sets out to replicate the beautifully rendered natural environments. With the full weight of the Unity 3D engine, they've done a fair job. Gameplay comprises two elements. The first is straightforward parkour, requiring the usual well-timed jumps and careful traversing of narrow ledges. The second element involves eating plant matter to grow your swarm. This in turn allows you to undertake certain feats that would be unobtainable to a single Globo, such as gnawing down a tree that blocks your path or moving a large boulder. For most of the game though, you control a single Globo, and the simple platforming elements are a joy. There are multiple control options depending on your personal preference. The gyroscopic tilt is remarkably responsive, but difficult to calibrate, and I found that moving my Globo forward required tilting my screen away from me, far from ideal. Using the virtual thumbpad for movement turned out to be the most consistent, although the game also offers controller support. At times the jumps are challenging, and throwing your Globo off a cliff or crushing it under a falling rock results in a respawn at the last checkpoint. There are certainly enough of these throughout the levels, but their placement isn't always ideal and their behaviour is inconsistent. There are also some bounding issues, making it possible to propel your Globo out of the map and into the surrounding void, whilst at other times seemingly possible jumps are prevented by an invisible boundary. None of these issues are in and of themselves enough to impact significantly on your experience, but combined they lead to occasional frustration which could have easily been avoided through more robust testing. Thankfully, these issues are of the sort that can relatively easily be resolved in a future update. Harder to resolve is the disappointing implementation of the swarm concept. In theory, a great idea, it simply doesn't work in practice. For starters, your swarm never really materialises. The most Globos I had at any one time was 6. 2 may be company, and 3's certainly a crowd, but 6 definitely isn't a swarm. They misbehave too, getting stuck behind rocks, failing to keep up as you jump from one crumbling pillar to another, and generally getting in the way. These issues might be more acceptable if your swarm served any real purpose, but it doesn't, except to gnaw down some arbitrarily placed trees that block your path, or to help push heavy boulders into place, something of a chore in itself since the boulders seem to move in any direction other than the one you want them to. Far from proving the value of teamwork and friendship, I was often left wishing that half my swarm would throw themselves off a cliff like lemmings. And here's my dilemma. Lose the Swarm and Globosome is a great looking, well balanced 3D platform game with some minor bugs. But as soon as your Globo begins to replicate, the experience begins to falter. I say this without any ill will towards the developers. Their only mistake is an over-ambitious first project, one that even a seasoned development team might have struggled to fully realise. And there are some redeeming features, including the pleasing omission of in-app purchases and a low price with the promise of additional levels and content in the future. And I can't deny that for the most part, the visuals are outstanding. I'm giving the game a respectable 6 out of 10, a score that unfortunately masks some of the truly compelling moments that this game has to offer, but at the same time fairly reflects the overall experience. Globosome Path of the Swarm is available on the App Store now for £1.99 or $2.99 in the US. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more mobile gameplay and reviews. I've been Shadesley for GameMob at www.gamemob.com.